Bom dia, minha gentes. Good morning, my people. How are you? I hope things are going well for you guys. I hope you guys are still sleeping or resting, and for those like me who are up and on their way to either open their business or, go to work in some form or some capacity, and good morning as well. I had a quick thought I just kind of wanted to share it. And that is the difference between an entrepreneur and an employee. Now, back in the day, I used to be under the impression that the entrepreneur was better than the employee. And then I thought about certain things that the employee has, particularly the advantages in the area of not having to provide certain insurances and 401ks and just certain benefit packages that kind of came standard with being an employee. And then I said, well, you know what? There is some advantages in that as well. Of course, then I had to consider the advantages of the entrepreneur, specifically in the area of leverage. You have the ability to take vacation time when you want. You can take sick time when you need to. You can do a whole host of things because the leverage that you have of being the boss, so to speak, kind of provides you the ability to unilaterally make decisions. Kind of like make decisions on a whim. But those aren't the real differences. Well, those are the differences, but those aren't, how can I say it like this? Those are differences and those are pros and cons. But the real difference, I'll say it like this. I'll get highfalutin this morning. I'll say the dichotomy, meaning the one thing that separates two seemingly same things kind of work lanes. So the one thing that really separates them is uncertainty. And here's what I mean. As an employee, you know that certain things are going to be provided for. Like I mentioned a short time ago. You're going to have your benefit package. You're going to have your paycheck, be it weekly, monthly, or bi-weekly. Without fail, you know that you're going to get paid. So when people have that assurance and they are comfortable and they have that form of security, that emotional security, I can say it that way, then they can really excel. And that means that you can kind of pull out all of the stops in the area of being innovative on that job as an employee. So they have this term, and it's kind of a legal term. It's called work product. So for instance, if you come up with an invention or a concept to help streamline your job, and if it's something that's kind of like new, you can't really get the credit for it per se because it was developed on the job of your employee. So it's kind of work product, right? Well, some people are okay with that. They don't care. It's kind of like, hey, I don't care. Just, keep my check coming in, make sure that I have my retirement set, my benefits package is stable and sound. I'm good. And they can excel. They can come up with all types of ideas, concepts, insights, and they're cool with it. On the other hand, the employee is the entrepreneur rather is okay with uncertainty. What does that mean? When I go to work, I don't know exactly how much money I'm going to make, but I know I'm going to make some money. And I don't necessarily have someone to per se provide for my benefits. I don't have anybody to put together a benefit package for me from a standpoint of it is just there upon me accepting the position of an entrepreneur and then going for it. My health benefits, my dental, vision, all of that, that's something that I had to provide for myself. So people like me can exist well in uncertainty. You know, we constantly see the glass half full in the lane that we're in, and the employee sees the glass half full in the lane that he's in. Now, what's interesting about these two different lanes per se is that there are times where the employee he begins to transform into the entrepreneur. You know, a lot of times because of like a hobby or something that he just kind of like is working on after work, or he or she is working on after work, and so that morphs into something that they developed a passion for, and it started to generate income, and then that hobby retired them from their job. Okay, so they became kind of like their own boss, just kind of like I want to say trial and error, but just because of their hobby, which was a passion, that became a job. And then there are some people who, vice versa, who are entrepreneurs who just kind of got tired of going into the jungle with that spear, killing everything that they eat, and they say, you know what? Instead of killing my meat, cleaning it, gutting it, all of that, I'm just gonna go to the grocery store. So some people decide to say, you know what, I'm kind of tired of this. I'm just gonna get me a job, have everything provided for me. I don't have to do all of this stuff anymore, and then I'm gonna be okay. And so one is not better than the other. They just exist well in their different lanes. And so you have to figure out who you are and how well you exist. Now, if you take the eternal employee and put the eternal employee into an entrepreneurial situation, they're probably going to self-destruct, because they don't have that stability of knowing that there are certain things that come standard with that particular career field, or that area of work per se. So they're going to be stressed out. They're going to self-destruct. You take the entrepreneur and you put the entrepreneur and make him an employee, then he's going to get stressed out as well, because it's not that he can't, that no one can tell him what to do. It's just that everything about that job he's going to look at as something that he could possibly make better. He can try to streamline this, streamline that. They're wasting too much money here, they're wasting too much money there, and he's just going to upset a lot of people. He's going to come across as like this constant complaint, when really he's just kind of like, that's his wheelhouse, to kind of take something that is difficult and make it simple. So you have to know kind of how you're hardwired, and when you do, you can operate better in whatever field you decide to go in, be it the entrepreneurial or as an employee. So I will say this: if you are an employee, if you feel like, you know what, this is the cloth that I'm cut from, it's okay, it's cool. I know a lot of people who are employees who live and who operate as though that they are not, because they do a lot of work contraction and remotely, and that's dope. And they can excel, and they come up with stuff, and they help their company, and they're great employees, and that's awesome, and they do very well. And then I know people like myself who do very well, who have their company and self-discipline, to where you don't necessarily need anybody to get this, get that, and get these things for you. You can kind of do these things on your own. So that's where I am. I've been here for quite some time, and it's just my wheelhouse. I will say this: I hear a lot of people always talking about wanting to be their own boss and wanting to be entrepreneurs, and it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But I will say this: I heard someone ask a very successful entrepreneur a question, and that was, what advice would he give future or budding entrepreneurs in hopes to, build them up and help them along the way. And he said something that was very interesting, and it was this: if you need encouragement to become an entrepreneur, don't become one, because your passion and your motivation and your drive and the belief in whatever it is that you are going to do, that's the only motivation in many cases that you'll ever have. So if you have that, you don't need the motivation of people. Motivation from people is good, but if you need that to become an entrepreneur, you probably shouldn't become one. In any event, I'll say this: I believe that statement, but I'll also add to it this: sometimes it's not necessarily motivation if someone can help you locate something that you're doing that you do effortlessly, that it takes other people a long time to do, and that it's something that is very difficult for other people to do, and that you do it like it's like breathing. And if somebody can help you locate that, I don't know if that's encouragement, maybe that's kind of perspective, I don't know. But either way, if that's you, then you should go for it. It's the worst that can happen, right? Even in the area of dating, hey, try something new. You never know, you might like it. In any event, I am going to continue to take this ride. I still got about another 20 minutes to drive, and I'm going to drink my coffee and start my day and make it happen. You guys have an awesome day. Tenyo Mumjia, Abensuado. Have a good morning. Have a blessed morning. And Ante Abrabi. I'll see you soon. É verdade. Tchau, tchau. Beijos e abraços.